That was for Liam Hines. It'll be intercepted by Hache. Hache gets it in deep. And colliding in that is a very dangerous play. Hache is being corralled along the near side. And oh boy, this is a scary situation along the side of the net of Matt Jenkins. As taking a tumble there. I didn't quite get the number. We'll see. We will see who it is in just a moment here. 3 minutes, 45 seconds gone in the third period. And all the attention now is down in the Woodstock end of the rink, as this crowd has been absolutely silenced by a very scary scene.
That's seen all kinds of bad. Michael Hache and the Slammers defenseman, who up to this point unknown, they got tangled up, and he fell into the boards, top of the head first, slammed right into that dasher board. Not a good scene at all.
Still unsure of exactly who it is on the ice. We do have Hache in the box. We'll see what else develops here.
To note, there was a possible push from Hache that upended the Slammers defenseman into the boards.
Yeah. And my apologies, it's actually Justin LeBlanc who is in the box at the moment. Hache is at the Commando bench.
Of note, also a Slammer in the penalty box.
So that's offsetting from the scrum that ensued afterwards. However, still all the focus remaining on the ice right now.
We're into full-on stretcher mode. Skates are coming off. Medical personnel from both teams out there now. At the immediate fall, there was movement from the player, but there has not been movement from the player since then, as we see the plank board coming out now.
I really don't want to get this wrong. However, it might be Thomas Hedges out there. Obviously, he is being attended to by a number of medical personnel right now. I'm looking on the bench. I do not see number 3 on the bench. However, cannot see all the numbers. So my apologies if this is wrong. But I do believe, almost process of elimination, I actually just exited the booth to try and get a better look at who it is. And still can't get a clear look, as the Slammer player is still being tended to.
And credit to the medical personnel who are here, just because we can't get a number. There has been great treatment, immediate treatment from all medical personnel who are affiliated with either team. It did not take long for them to get out of there, to their credit.
As soon as contact was made there, as soon as the as of yet to be confirmed player, just before the whistle even sounded, quite frankly, people were on their toes. It was apparent from the very first moment that this was going to be a very, very bad situation down in the Slammers' corner of the rink. of course, a situation like this, the last thing that you really think of is, where the outcome of the game is going to be. It takes a lot in a situation like this. Once again, two teams still hopeful of finishing in first. The Slammers, they only need a point, and that's obviously in the forefront of their mind. But it takes a monumental incident to shift the focus away from those kinds of thoughts, and that has happened here at the AJL. As already mentioned, a yet to be confirmed Woodstock Slammers defenseman still on the ice. And getting a clearer look at that might be Cam Garrow.
It does look like a 2.
It does look like number 2, Cam Garrow, so my apologies. As it appeared it might have been Thomas Hedges, still very tough, as training staff, understandably, are still surrounding the prone Slammers player. He's now being turned over onto his back, placed on the flat board.
And that is number 2, Cam Garrow. We can confirm that.
Yes, he was moving his feet, moving his lower legs while on the ice. His arm is outstretched.
His arms are now moving.
Very positive signs indeed. And I've been broadcasting 10 years. I've been covering games here for, this will be 6 seasons, I do believe, and this is by far the scariest situation that I've ever witnessed in the booth, and probably the worst that I've seen live in any rink. It's, you never even imagine such a situation taking place, and as Cam Garrow now being strapped to the flat board and tended to by a bevy of medical staff.
And the one name, as Greater Moncton hockey fans would know, the one name you don't want to draw a comparison to is Sébastien Savage.
Right.
But a similar situation. Yeah. You don't want to draw a comparison.
No, absolutely not.
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
Of an incident of a similar nature where two players battling in front of the boards and one takes an unfortunate tumble or might have been pushed, one or the other, depends on who you ask. Mm-hmm. And, this is absolutely the worst possible outcome for anyone involved.
Yeah, and, it just goes to show it is a very quick game. Nobody has to tell you that. You just, you know it. But, sometimes that speed, it can certainly rear its ugly head, and there is a dark side to it from time to time. It's Cam Garrow now strapped to the flat board, and looks like they may be getting ready to carry him off the playing surface. We'll see how things transpire here.
In these kinds of situations, you always look for the positives. The arms moving, the legs moving. He was moved freely to the flat board. Certainly some kind of consciousness.
Yes.
Which is an absolute positive in that situation.
Yeah. And when, like I say, I took a step out here to try and get a better look at who was on the ice before we realized that it was Cam Garrow. I took a look out, and you could see eyes were open, and he was, it would be a massive understatement to say that he was in discomfort, of course, but you could tell that there was some degree of alertness. Like I say, he was moving his legs, moving his feet, and it's a horrendous situation that has just transpired here. But like you said, Mike, there is some form of positive here in that he is alert, he is responsive to a degree. Obviously, we can't tell to what degree up here in the booth, but is definitely in communication with the personnel that's on the ice right now.
And in my unmedical opinion, I'm not sure what the correct phrasing of that would be, but certainly not a scientist, not a doctor by any means, but I think you can definitely argue concussion. And to that benefit, not the right word, but medical science has come so far in the avenue of concussions in even the last 5 years, that diagnosis and treatment and recovery has become a lot more consistent in the measurement and the treatment of concussions. And in that case, and certainly we don't want to speculate on the injury or injuries here, but that's another positive in this situation.
Definitely. And as the personnel step away, you can see that Cam Garrow's head has been stabilized on the flatboard. It's now been approximately 10 minutes since this event unfortunately occurred. Safe to say ambulances have since reached the scene. Just making sure everything is in perfect place to permit Cam Garrow to be transported off the ice. As we have members of the fire department, EMTs, they are bringing out the rollout stretcher now.
16:15 left of the third period. A very entertaining 3-3 score.
Yeah.
It's turned for the worse now.
Certainly overshadowing things right now, and in literally the blink of an eye, going from what was arguably one of the most entertaining games in this building all year. Talks of who's going to finish in first, but the Slammers going to hold on, get a point here tonight, and then looking forward to a long playoff run, really for both teams, hopefully. And the entire focus changes in a moment's notice as Cam Garrow is being still tended to on the ice. On the flatboard, stretcher is standing by and obviously being sent off. It's another member of the staff here at the AJL taking a bit of a tumble there, so everybody having to be on their toes in this critical situation. He's now being lifted onto the stretcher. He'll now be strapped there to the applause of what's been a decent-sized crowd tonight by standards of the Commandos. Both teams offering their salute.
One of those cruel reminders when you get into sport like this that life sometimes gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And a very cruel reminder there.
Matt Jenkins with a word for his teammate as Cam Garrow is now being taken off the playing surface. Both teams making their way back onto the ice. This has been a lengthy delay. And it's going to change the complexion of this game, of course.